thing we debate just about on every King's Roundtable, Dane, is what is better, the classic game or SSG? And I hear that you have some thoughts on it and you'd like to talk about it. So we all argue this all the time. Dane, what's better and why, SSG or classic?
Well, I don't know which is better. Whatever is better is whatever the particular customer likes better. We started with we thought about this, when we were first creating the game. I thought about going with a single season right from the start. But given that I thought the stats/ESPN customers were the easy pickings, was one reason I thought, well, we got to go the career way because I want to get those guys because I know we can take those customers. The second was I thought that if you think about it, a player in Classic is Willie Mays or Babe Ruth, right? That's one player. In single season, it's kind of like each year of a player is a player. When you think from a computer coding standpoint, they really are units. So it's almost like, so instead of having one Barry Bonds, you're trying to choose between one Barry Bonds. You want Barry Bonds? In the classic game, you got to choose between, do I want Barry Bonds or do I want Ted Williams? Or do I want to spend that money in center field and have Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle? If you go single season, then you have to decide, not only do I want Barry Bonds or Ted Williams, or do I want Willie Mays, or do I want, Ty Cobb or Mickey Mantle? Now you have to decide which version of those do I want. So that decision of A versus B versus C versus D becomes A to the times 8, B times 20, C times 22. And so now you're not choosing between 4 players or 5 players or 6 players. You're choosing between probably over 100. And so I thought that's overwhelming. In hindsight, I don't think that's necessarily true because I think so many people are used to growing up now with single season mentality, especially in fantasy sports. So anyway, and as time, so we went with the classic because one, we were, like I said, we were targeting the the stats and ESPN customer base initially. And second, I just thought it was easier to learn. It's easier for a newcomer to come in and start to learn how to play because there are fewer choices. The choices aren't overwhelming. You're trying to choose from a player pool of, say, 5,000. We have about, I don't know, it's like 5,000 in the player pool, 6,000 in the classic player pool versus literally like 80,000 choices in the single season. And then, but then years later, there was another issue too. It was like database stuff. It was, you have to have a much larger database to accommodate single season than you do. And then when we first started, imagine, database costs were higher, but over time, server costs and database costs came down. And so it's like, okay, now we can offer the single season. So it's like, well, let's just give everybody a choice. And so you can have whatever you want. And that's kind of been our theme all along since we started the company. We just look at all the options you have in setting up a league. The idea was, hey, let's just give people all the choices we can possibly give them and let them play the way they want. And so I don't have a position on whether one is better than the other. I'm more curious about what other people think, what the customers think.